Hey Mitt, you were a big hit yesterday. Want to join us this morning? What day is it? Tuesday. What do we say about Tuesdays? What do we say about Tuesdays, Steve? Yeah, let's do this. Tuesdays are good if you can get them. And choose what you want to do on a Tuesday. Maybe you don't want to go outside. But we do want to go outside, right? At least to check it out. Is that correct, Rex? Jump 3 times if that's correct. 2 and 3 and... Yeah, that's affirmative. I want to go check it out. Oop. Sudden stop. Turn it around. What is it, Rex? Indecision. Smelling something. Something must have walked toward the slider last night. It's 8 o'clock. No, it's past that. Slept into this morning. It's almost 9 o'clock to tell you the truth. It's 80 degrees here and it's pretty comfortable. Right where I'm standing right now in the shade, looking out at the water. That water temperature is in the low 70s. And the atmosphere decoupled last night. A little bit glassy on the water this morning. Kind of surprised. And regional roundup this morning at, 8 o'clock? Boston was already 82 degrees, but the wind was light from the west. Dew point in the 60s, so not oppressive humidity. Dew points are higher in Connecticut and New York. Some dew points were in the 70s, while in northern New Hampshire, up around Whitefield, it was closer to a dew point of 62 degrees. And with the wind from the west, in Boston, the air sinks because it comes down out of the hills of central Massachusetts, and that sinking air with a light westerly wind causes the dew point to go down. So as the temperature goes up today, the dew point goes down. But there is a heat advisory in effect. Shall we go right to the Boston meteorogram and show the red line is the temperature and the blue line is the dew point. You see the temperature going up to about 96 or 97 this afternoon, and the record is 97 from 1933. But the dew point is going down to 62. So the heat index is going to be up there between 95 and 100 degrees at the east-facing shores with a westerly wind. And then tomorrow, it's still about 90, but then look at the dew point late in the day. It goes down to 58 with a light sea breeze developing tomorrow afternoon, or maybe even a front that's coming through, because on Thursday, we're only in the 70s. The dew point comes up. Well, actually, the temperature goes down and meets the dew point in the upper 60s tomorrow night and stays there on Friday morning. And Friday morning showing the heavy rain. And then the weekend still looking good, only about 73 there on Saturday, and then back to 80 on Sunday. It's going to be just in the nick of time, front moving offshore, another Thursday, Friday front. And this is heat wave number 4, day number 2 of heat wave number 4 in inland New England, not for Boston though. And that last heat wave 2 weeks ago, we had 3 of them in succession. 2 in late June to start July, and then a 3rd in the July 6th area. And that July 6th heat wave ended with flooding rain. And it looks like this one could do the same thing, ending with flooding rain. And it's always been on a Thursday and a Friday. Take a look at the big dig, what they're doing down here. Working in the heat is what they're doing. I get the music playing. Hopefully you don't hear the music too much, because I'll get a copyright even though it's on the radio. And that's a special portion of the concrete right there that we'll be seeing evolve over the next several weeks. Let's see. I didn't show the radar. There's not much going on the radar for a change. There's no flooding. There's no severe weather this morning. There was a lot of severe weather in the Central Plains. There's the radar. But you have specks of precipitation all around. And then our satellite image this morning in the northeast here shows a few clouds along the south coast, a few clouds scattered in northern New England. Overall, a really nice Tuesday is good if you can get it. And if you're aiming for the beaches, the southern beaches, Rhode Island, Cape Cod, Southside, and Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard, only going to be in the 80s today, and along with the Maine coast. And then it's good if you can find indoor work during the maximum heating of this afternoon, when some record high temperatures are going to occur. Yesterday, Doug, you were asking me about heat index of 119. What does it take? Well, it's funny, right after we had that conversation, I looked, Ryan Maui had posted this. In Mount Vernon in southern Illinois, yesterday the temperature was 95 and the dew point was 82 at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, with a heat index of 119 degrees. That was in southern Illinois. And also he pointed out that near Tampa Bay, also temperature in the mid-90s with dew point in the low 80s and a heat index of 119 or 120 degrees. So it did occur yesterday in Illinois and Florida and maybe some other spots. National advisories, watches, and warnings this morning show the extreme heat warning is now in effect from southeastern Missouri down to near the coast of Mississippi. And so just another stifling day there, and also much of North Florida. And now you got to remember, well, we got a heat advisory here in New England. We don't have an extreme heat warning. So the further south you go in latitude, the more extreme the heat has to be to call it an extreme heat warning. So those heat indexes above 115 degrees again today from Missouri to Florida. And we are on the edge of the heat. And I looked at the surface map this morning. What's going on in New England? There's actually a front right over New England this afternoon, and another one on our doorstep. And all that's going to do is trigger a scattered shower or a thunderstorm. Not a lot of forcing with these two fronts initially until we get to about tomorrow night and Thursday. And what else do I want to say? Yeah, there's a weak high, about a 10, I don't know, what was it, a 10, 18 high just south of New England. So that should keep the south coast pretty comfortable today. It's just inland with that front to the north and the high to the south. We are going to have a westerly wind. And I talk a lot about those thickness rules because warm air is less dense than cold air. The thickness or the distance between the 1,000 millibar pressure near the ground and the 500 millibar pressure way up in the sky around 18,000 feet, but it varies. The lower the density of the air, the higher you have to go up, and we measure that in decameters on our weather maps, and those are the red lines. So I want to start, and I talk about how you can, with a wind from the west and sunshine in the Boston area, you can take, say your thickness is 570, you can add 20 and it comes out to about 90 degrees. So let's look at the NAM for high res for New England for today, where there's not much precipitation. You saw the 570 thickness in northern New England and the 576 south of New England. So we're starting off the day around 574, 575. So 94, 95 are going to be the common high temperatures for today. And you do see some green specks. Wind from the west, a couple of thunderstorms, and if you do get a thunderstorm that's very tiny and few and far between, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, it could hit hard for just a few minutes, and you may have a damaging wind gust. And the wind on Mount Washington this morning is 50 miles an hour going through this NAM, though, so I'm not going to show that. And then tomorrow, the 570 recedes to the south, 576 recedes to the south, so we're probably going to be more like 90 to 95 tomorrow. And there is some scattered showers and thunderstorms, looking like we may get organized severe weather. Some segments of squall lines happening tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. And now we're really packing those red lines together. And that means the gradient is tightening. That means that the upper level flow is tightening. And that means that the showers and thunderstorms are going to become heavier and more widespread. And then on Thursday, wow, look at this area of rain, a wave on a front. Maybe not having severe thunderstorms at that point because cooler air is undermining warmth. And that's a recipe for killing thunderstorms, taking the legs out from underneath them. But it can really rain, and the forecast by 2 p.m. on Thursday for it to be really raining across much of New England. This is 552 thickness there in northern Maine. The 570 is in New Jersey. That's quite a thermal packing. That is a battle zone in the atmosphere on Thursday. It's going to carry into Friday. The Euro has been telegraphing that beautifully. Steve, what was that we were just looking at? What were you just looking at? T-Rex, what's going on down there? Oh, they're delivering sand to the beach. I like that, sand to the beach. Actually, that's dirt. And scoping it out. You hear me? I'm zooming. I don't have my wireless mic on, so we probably have some wind interference, and I have to talk louder when I'm zoomed in. And it's going to back it in. They're building a ramp. It's going to be a temporary ramp so the workers can go from one beach to the next and continue the program. So it's always a work in progress. We're going to have a lot in the end more on how that's going. All right, we're passing 850. Let's get to the Euro and go day by day here. The flood threat is real at the end of this heat wave. Tomorrow is going to be day 2 of the heat wave, and there's the front in Ontario and Quebec and stretching out into the Midwest, where more severe weather is going to be occurring today. And tomorrow, it's just scattered showers and thunderstorms. The air is starting to come in from the north and the east, and far northern New England, high pressure coming across southeastern Canada. The 540 line way up there in Quebec is receding fairly quickly, but it is a chilly air mass, and that air mass is going to start undermining the heat, and that's where you get your overrunning precipitation and waves of heavy rain
It's a moving target. It keeps going up a little north and then a little further south, but the Euro has been telegraphing this for some time with flooding possible. It's been very consistent, started about 5 days ago, and that rain on Friday is going to recede off to the south and finally move out Friday night and Saturday, just in time to save our Saturday. I know a lot of people would consider Friday part of the weekend, but that's a wet one. And far northern New England's going to miss most of that. And then we're all sharing in the nice, delightful air here on Saturday. Like I said a bunch of times, record low temperatures possible on Saturday, and then Sunday the high is getting south of us, and the upper level low is pulling out. So nice return of warmer air on Sunday and to Monday. And then where's the Tuesday front? What happened to that Tuesday front coming at us from the north? Well, it's still there. It just is looking nondescript without much action. I think that's probably wrong. I think we're going to have some action with that Tuesday front. And then next Wednesday, a front is right over us, and there'll probably be some showers around. But then this goes out now to Thursday. Yeah, T-Rex, I hear you. It goes out to Thursday now, August 7th. And at that time, we have action to our south, and so we're probably on no, to our west. I'm sorry, of course it's a Thursday, there's a front coming at us from the west, so next Thursday into Friday it probably ends up turning wet again on the backside of some more warmth. It doesn't look hot next week, but it looks warm, looks pretty nice. And there are also signs of action if we shift off to the south next Thursday. See those showers and thunderstorms in the Bahamas and near Florida? Westward moving tropical wave, and the Euro actually develops that into a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico in about 14 or 15 days, but that's not on our 10-day yet, so we're not going to show that. Meantime, as I'm sitting here talking, a monarch butterfly just flew practically between Steve's ears. He's looking at it right now, and T-Rex was sitting here whining. What were you whining about, Rex? You want to go in? Well, it's Tuesday, and we can't do whatever we want this Tuesday, but I will let you in. I want to find that monarch butterfly. I have indoor work to do today, and you know, interesting. I haven't talked about surfing much, but there was a 1 foot swell, 12-second period at Boston. We have a tiny little ground swell, offshore breeze. Why not go over to Nantasket Beach? Maybe I'll see you guys over at Nantasket today. And T-Rex isn't allowed there, and I do have office work to do too, so I'm mostly indoors today. And more from yesterday, a bunch of tankers going by, watching that fog that was so dense burn off before our eyes. So we'll do that, and we'll take it out to sunset. It was quite a nice day yesterday, and I had made some progress on some office work. All right, and I think we got some MIT sightings too. So here's and more from our Monday. Hope you're doing whatever you want on this Tuesday. Talk to you later. I mean now. And more from our Monday morning, 9:30, that backdoor cool front brought in the fog, and now the sun is getting high enough in the sky and the fog is burning off. Let's go get a update on Steve. It's about the time sometimes he has to come in. He looks very content, sitting in the shade, protected by his chair and his rock. And look at this. So the fog, there's the sun. You can see the blue coming in, and you get the fog near the water, and look at that over there. Wow. We're getting our beach graded again. Now I zoom in so the mic fades a bit, but I want to zoom in so we can see the fog burning off literally. You can see it's stuck to the water there a little bit. Miss a gusset. This is so fun. So I'll make a shorter time lapse showing the fog burning off using just my webcam. Plane's taking off toward the east. As the rest of New England sizzles, we have a little marine layer keeping us cooler. Just a couple of minutes later here. This is just gorgeous. Oh, wish I didn't have to do some serious work today. I'd be out there on my stand-up paddleboard. Glassy water now. Still some very light air from the east. The sun's burning off the fog though. 10:30, just gorgeous now. Blue sky, very light onshore breeze. It's cool enough that Steve can sit right out in the sun. He likes this. Oh yeah. Lots of ruckus going on in the back. Tide's coming in. They gotta beat the tide here. So I'm mostly working on the drainage. You get drains coming down. That catch basin that goes underneath. So just make sure there's a good outflow opportunity for the pipe. And some more drainage on the water side of the wall. Those tires. Just finish over here. So concrete goes down. It's complete. And the burning of the fog also complete by the sounds of things. Looks of things. The sound. That's what I'm thinking of right here. That's the very first area where they dug a 12-foot hole, and I said, "What's going on?" That was about, I don't know, 7 months ago maybe. And they built the revetment, and have since been tweaking, I guess what we call it, tweaking the revetment. And those boulders will go back on there probably not today, then tomorrow, working against the tide, like I said. Thanks, guys. That does look like a loose Gianna. Run down there and get a different angle, but I'll let them work in peace. I'll check it out later. More and more and more. More people on the beach this morning than there was yesterday, even though it's a Monday. It's a gorgeous Monday, and it wasn't the nicest Sunday. Straight up high noon, pushing 80 degrees. I'm sure it's much more comfortable here than it is anywhere else because of our proximity to nature's air conditioning, the Atlantic Ocean. Revetment work is done for today with the tide coming up. Hopefully you got done what you need to get done. And then I love when this happens. Hafnia Kirsten came in yesterday. Moving the water. Again, these things are like 500 feet long, 30-foot draft going through the channel. So a lot of water is displaced. It's not that visible there, but you can make it out right here at the end of the groin. See the underwater waves reflecting off the rocks that are under the water and refracting on the top of the water. Eddies. Happy trails to you. Fast today. Wow. And the planes continue to take off toward the east. Should be changing pretty soon, maybe this afternoon. Planes taking off in different directions. We'll be here and more. 2 o'clock. Thank you for that easterly wind. Little weak low pressure southeast of Cape Cod. A high pressure in northern Maine. Even so, temperatures in the low 80s here at the coast, and inland it is 90 to 94, but the dew point closer to 68 than 73, so we get that going for us. We got boaters, a little bit of a sea breeze front in there. All right, 2:30, we break for tankers, especially ones where we can really read what they say. Stolt tankers, moving right along. Next to the ferry. It gives you some size, scale, perspective. And the tugboat Independence, kind of dwarfing the ferry too. Can I say something about working? Yeah, I'm trying. It's a wonder I got an education. Always looking out the window. All right, just a tiny little break. Give me a break. Yes. What did you just do? I just ate a piece of Steve's tail. Come on. What's that? Did you even notice that? See how hot it is? Let's go out. It's about 6:15 and Steve is on Steve's table. Should we call it a day? Logan Airport, the official high temperature for Boston, only 84 degrees today, but I'm sure in the back bay it was a lot warmer. And Norwood, Massachusetts hit 90. The dew point at Logan was only in the mid-60s today. So just barely meeting the heat advisory criteria. Connecticut was in the low 90s with a dew point in the 70s, where the heat index did get to 100 degrees in parts of Connecticut today. So we're in the central and eastern United States, we're experiencing some of the hottest weather of the summer. It was way back there though in June, around the 24th, that here in eastern Massachusetts it was 102 degrees. A couple of days after the summer solstice. And the planes continue to take off toward the east, so that means the air is still coming in from the east. I talked about the planes taking off and which way the boats are pointed all the time, because planes take off into the wind, boats point into the wind, gulls point into the wind, but I don't see any of those right now. So we had a lot of big dig action today, and now I think we're gonna go out for a bite, so I'm gonna call it a day. A hot Monday, a hotter Tuesday, a less hot Wednesday, probably the peak of the humidity though, and then still soaking rain in the forecast for, you guessed it, Thursday and a Friday. All our heaviest rains have been on Thursdays and Fridays, and snows back in wintertime. Some of you not entertained by the fact I talk about snow so much. And the time lapse also of Cape Cod. Where it's always cooler, except for when the front goes by. Usually when it cools off everywhere else, Cape Cod is the hottest. We'll see how that works out late in the week. Excuse me. We interrupt this closing credits to bring you breaking news. 80 degrees at 8:16. The sun is over the horizon. We have condensation trails, and I just remembered that I teased that we might see the waxing crescent sturgeon moon. Do you see it? What now? 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 All right, we now return to the closing credits and the piano music. Already in progress. And the guidance has been shifting that precipitation north from Cape Cod, where a few days ago it looked like Connecticut to Cape Cod would be wettest. The trend has been shifting it north. Things are always moving. Everything's in flux. Steve is in flux. Oh, end of the rope there. Rose is opened up today. That one opened up today. Put a little water on this struggling garden. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Tuesdays are good if you can get them. Good indoors, that is, because it's so hot outdoors. Talk to you tomorrow.